I've been using NordVPN for a while now, but with all the cybersecurity threats and updates we've seen through the past year, it's time for an honest check-in to see if it's still the real deal. In this NordVPN review, I'll go through all NordVPN pros and cons to help you decide if this is the right VPN for you. One of my biggest concerns with VPNs is whether my data is being tracked or sold. So, is NordVPN safe on this front? Now, every single VPN claims it doesn't keep logs of user activity, but what convinced me NordVPN was telling the truth was the fact that NordVPN has put its no logs policy through audits by established independent security firms 5 times at this point. Also, NordVPN is based in a privacy-friendly country, so the company isn't legally required to track or hand over user data. They still get requests, but based on new transparency reports, we know they've turned down every single one. Plus, without logs, there's no data to even hand over. As for how they actually protect your data, it all gets encrypted. So, worst case scenario, all any outside snoopers would be able to see is just a scramble of symbols and letters, with no way to decipher it. Plus, NordVPN servers run entirely on RAM, meaning all data that goes through them gets fully wiped with each reboot. That's it for the pros when it comes to Nord security. Reviews gotta have cons though, right? My only gripe in this category is that this provider isn't open source. I know our Cyber News research team would love to be able to dig through their code, but with the regular audits I mentioned to verify security measures, that one's not a deal breaker for me. So, all things considered, I feel confident in recommending NordVPN from a privacy standpoint. If you're convinced, there's a link in the description or a QR code on screen. It's worth checking out if you want to grab the lowest price out there. Okay, so your data's protected, that's great, but what about performance? Because a secure VPN that tanks your internet speed isn't all that useful, right? Now, we've called NordVPN the fastest VPN on the market on this channel in the past, but our research team wanted to run a fresh NordVPN speed test to see where things stand today. We connected to servers in the US, UK, and Japan, and then compared the results we got with those from competitors like Surfshark and ProtonVPN. And what we found was that NordVPN came out on top in most locations, with minimal speed drops even on servers that were further away. The secret behind this impressive performance? Their proprietary NordLynx protocol. Though NordLynx is built on the WireGuard protocol, which most other VPNs do use, Nord's version is further optimized for speed and reliability. Or if you're somewhere with VPN restrictions, you can use the new NordWhisper protocol instead. This one's designed specifically to get around various blocks. Additionally, NordVPN expanded to over 165 countries this year, which means fewer crowded servers and better chances of finding one nearby, both of which keeps your speeds up. However, NordVPN did recently hide their total server count, which feels a bit strange, but since I haven't noticed any slowdowns, I guess their recent quality over quantity explanation does check out. Now, taking a look at some of the practical uses for those high speeds. Is NordVPN good for streaming? I've been impressed by how smooth it is, and NordVPN's Smart Play feature helps unlock all the major platforms with no buffering and very rare troubleshooting. My NordVPN experience with torrenting was good too. It works well through the company's dedicated P2P servers and free SOC 5 proxy. However, ProtonVPN does edge them out in this category with their port forwarding feature. So if you're an avid torrenter, keep that in mind. Speaking of features, let me show you what you can expect to find in the NordVPN apps. The interface is pretty straightforward, though at first it might feel slightly overwhelming for some users who are completely new to VPNs. Don't get intimidated because some of the features are right on the home page. Once you start using them, this actually becomes incredibly convenient. Also, there are apps for all major operating systems. Even Linux has a graphical interface now, after years of me complaining about it. NordVPN is also supported on smart TVs, and there are browser extensions too, so you can install it pretty much everywhere. The only time I found NordVPN a bit difficult to set up was on a router, and not only is it complicated to set up, but it only supports OpenVPN protocols, so you'll get slower speeds compared to other providers that support WireGuard, like Surfshark. Continuing on in our NordVPN overview of the main app, one thing that they recently removed from Windows and Mac apps is the server map. Not a huge deal for most people, but if you like the visual map, that's gone now. However, connecting to a server is still easy. You can just pick a location from the list or use the search bar. You'll see recent connections up top and also specialized servers. Double Onion and Onion over VPN are there for increased anonymity, but they do slow things down pretty significantly. However, if you're a journalist or activist trying to cover your tracks as much as possible, the trade-off is probably worth it. The main NordVPN feature that everyone seems to be talking about is right here on the side, Threat Protection Pro. It started out as an effective ad blocker, but now it can also check websites for malware or phishing, a feat which earned it an official anti-phishing certification from AV Comparatives. But perhaps the most impressive functionality of Threat Protection Pro is that this feature can also scan files for malware as you're downloading them. And all of these features work even without a VPN connection, which is very rare to see from providers. It's a great security boost if you download a lot of files from the web or want to torrent safely. There's also dark web monitoring. This feature alerts you if your email or private credentials show up somewhere they shouldn't, like a dark web database. You don't have to constantly check in yourself, it's a set it and forget it kind of thing. And any NordVPN review can't leave out MeshNet. NordVPN was about to also remove this feature from their service in 2025, but left it due to popular demand. MeshNet lets you securely and directly connect your own devices, which is great if you need remote access to your files or even for things like remote LAN parties. Now, if we move on to settings, you'll find split tunneling. This setting lets you choose which apps go through the VPN and which don't, which is really handy if you want to protect your browser or torrenting client, but still want other apps like Spotify to use the regular connection. However, one con to note is that this feature is not available on Mac or iOS apps. There's also a kill switch, which automatically cuts your internet if the VPN connection drops. This will make sure that no accidental IP leaks happen, so your data stays protected at all times. I rarely see this kick into action because my connection is usually stable, but even so, it's still an essential feature you want to have. Overall, NordVPN features add a lot of value to the VPN, especially Threat Protection Pro. But whether you need basic protection or advanced privacy tools, it's all in there. What about NordVPN price points? Is NordVPN worth it? They remain one of the more affordable options. Right now, they have a few different plans to choose from, so there's some flexibility there too. The basic plan gets you the VPN and core features. However, it leaves out the full power of Threat Protection Pro. Higher tier plans do include the full Pro version. Overall, they're basically bundles that include things like the NordPass password manager and encrypted cloud storage, which is cool if you want a full cybersecurity suite. No matter which plan you choose, you get 10 simultaneous connections, which is plenty enough to cover all your devices and even share with family or friends. Just don't forget to use the discount link in the description. It'll automatically apply the best available discount so you don't have to pay a dime more than you have to. And also keep in mind that because NordVPN offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, you can test everything out with completely no risk. NordVPN review complete. So what's my main takeaway for this provider? After all the updates and changes throughout the year, this VPN has clearly evolved. And there isn't a doubt in my mind it's one of the best VPN 2026 choices out there. Of course, no service is perfect and it does have some minor cons, but its pros outweigh them tenfold. But what do you think? Share your experience and thoughts in the comments and you'll help other viewers out too. Thanks for sticking around to the end of my honest NordVPN review. I tried to make it as thorough as I could. I'll see you in the next video.